Hey everybody, this is Modern Refugee. Thought I'd do a real quick video here on some of the wilderness survival gear that I just keep handy and keep in my different packs and stuff. It's the same stuff that I showed that local group of people here several days back when we were discussing their wilderness survival scenario. A lot of this stuff that has found its way into my packs and stuff over the years is stuff that has proven itself to me and has proved useful. Now, this could be, easily a 2 hour conversation, but I'm going to try to keep this as basic and as simple as possible. Um, a couple of things that are in all my packs are going to be knives and some type of water bottle or bush pot. Now, bush pots come in all different shapes and sizes. This is one of my favorite ones right here. And water bottles like this are extremely useful, as are cups. Cups can pair with water bottles. They actually sell a bunch of different, there's different companies and stuff that sell both cups and water bottles that go together with just real basic stuff like a piece of paracord here with a little stick in it. You can actually hang, this can go down in there and that'll hold on the shoulders of the bottle and it'll hold it up over a fire so you can boil. Same thing with bush pots. All you need is a little stick in here and you can slide that through your bale and the weight holds it in place. So containers find their way into all of my stuff. Now, this particular scenario that we were talking about a few days back was a winter one. I don't usually carry, at least not in the last couple of years, I don't usually carry any water filters in the winter because they can freeze. And so I just basically rely on boiling. And if you're not that good at starting fires, you can just get a canister of gas and a backpack stove. That works really good too. Then you don't have to forage for stuff. One thing that's extremely useful that a lot of people don't talk about is a spoon. And then it's a long spoon, something that you can get down into one of these pots if you have to eat out of them, or a mountain house pack or an MRE or something like that. This one I carved here myself. Sort of I call them Sunday spoons because they're long, like what you get with a sundae at a restaurant. Um, but you can buy commercially available ones made out of plastic and metal and stuff too. But should have a long spoon. Um, Socks and gloves. You should always have dry socks and gloves in a pack whenever you're putting a pack out, especially if you want to press it into some type of wilderness survival. And that gets into these Ziploc bags. A lot of the gear I got here is just in Ziploc bags. Now, they're good for organizing, they're good for holding stuff, but you don't have to get fancy. Now, if you want to get fancy, you can go into something like these little dry bags like this right here. And then you can use that to kind of sort of divide and organize your gear. The added benefit is it adds a little bit of moisture protection, like in a fire kit like this is right here. Now I got Vaseline soaked cotton balls, several different lighters. I got matches. I got some bank line and some paracord in this particular kit here. And then I got a candle. What makes candles nice is you can actually light them with one of your cigarette lighters that you're carrying, when you're Bic lighters, and you don't have to hold that Bic lighter on the fire that you want to start and waste all your gas. You can take this, you can hit it on the end of your candle. That's going to light, and you can put your candle in to your fire lay, and you can get a fire going that way, and you don't have to waste this precious resource. Especially if you're stranded somewhere, you don't have to waste the gas out of these lighters, and you can make these lighters last as long as possible. Cord. Paracord and bank line. Something to remember, bank line grips and paracord slips. So if you're building something and you want it to hold down tight, you're probably going to want to use bank line. Like I got here on my little frame pack, the bank line grips the wood and it holds this particular frame pack together. A frame pack like this can be used to haul wood. It can be used to put a bucket. I actually have a square bucket here that goes in this one that I can lash on here. And then also, getting into the bag, you can lash a dry bag onto that as well. And this dry bag sort of goes along with carrying gear and stuff. These are nice because these can actually hold water. They can hold stuff like firewood or kindling that you're bringing back up to your camp. They can also pack meat out. So if you're out somewhere and you shoot something and you got to quarter it up, can't carry a whole deer out by yourself. Quarter it up, take them back straps off or whatever. If you have a dry bag with you, you can pack that meat in there and then you can pack it out, and then this can be washed out after the fact. One of the things that I just knocked down here, something to sit on. And, people say carry garbage bags and that stuff. You can use them for ground cloths and whatever. Sitting on a garbage bag, especially if there's snow and ice on the ground or things are wet, it slips, it slides. It's not comfortable. I prefer to actually have some type of ground pad to sit on, something that's kind of purpose driven, like this right here. This is just a hunting seat that you can actually pump up and put a little air in it, get you a little bit further off the ground, so your rear end doesn't get cold and your pants don't get wet. And I've started carrying one of these in every pack pretty much that I have, of one variety or another. Like I said, the garbage bag will keep your backside dry, but it won't keep it very warm, and you slide around on it when you sit. You get into shelter and stuff. A poncho just makes a good shelter. It's simple. If you use it with a ridge line with the grommets, something that I got a ridge line here that I got made up. This ridge line is sort of the Dave Canterbury rapid ridge line style, except I actually put a figure 9 carabiner on it, and then I actually have some smaller carabiners to hook into the grommets on that poncho, so I can just spread that stuff apart, and then I can use that as a basically a windbreak. So I can put my seat pad down on the ground. I can take my ridge line, run it between two trees. I can put the poncho in between that as a windbreak, so it stops the wind blowing through. I can start the fire in front of me, or I can use my backpack, stove, and canister of gas to boil some water or whatever that I need to do. Food, there's a lot of expensive food out there. You can get MREs and get Mountain House, but you can buy a lot of commercial stuff too. This is a little bit of combination of everything in here. There's some Lipton soup mix. There's a drink mix that I scavenged out of an MRE. There's some poached chicken in here. There's coffee. There's apple cider mix. There might even be, that looks like it's some hot chocolate mix. You can keep it simple. Peanut butter works good too. You just got to remember that you got to keep that from freezing. A headlamp. Headlamps are, I think, the go-to for light when you're out in the woods. You can use your hands then. You don't have to hold on to a flashlight. A lot of people talk about flashlights, but I would just as soon have a couple of headlamps compared to a flashlight. First aid stuff. You can go both elaborate and you can go and get IFAKs and that kind of stuff. But the basic stuff: foot powder, KT tape to tape up a small injury or use for blisters, mole skin, some basic medication. And basic medication, the main ones are Tylenol, ibuprofen, and some type of anti-nausea and anti-diarrheal meds. Bunch of Band-Aids, tube of Neosporin. Now, if you want something more elaborate, you could carry a couple rolls of gauze. You should definitely carry a roll of tape. It has a bunch of different uses, including first aid uses. Bandanas work good as well. If you had a more serious injury, I don't always carry bandanas, but these schmogs and bandanas have a bunch of different uses too. In the wintertime, I'll typically carry one. In the summer, sometimes I don't. It just kind of all depends on what I'm doing. Tent pegs are another thing. You can make tent pegs, certainly, but you can also carry tent pegs. And I like these little metal ones right here. These will fit through the grommets of that poncho, and I can use it to stake it to the ground. Signal kit. Signaling is important. It's kind of like fire. Fire, a lot of people will say, oh, well, what if it's Mad Max and, if somebody's tracking you, you can't start a fire. Well, we're not to Mad Max yet. And fire at this particular point is your friend. Fire can signal for help. Signaling, very important. Fire can signal for help. It can boil your water. It can keep you warm. It can dry your clothes. So fire is sort of one of the most important things as far as wilderness survival that I think people should know. And of course, the Mad Max scenario rolls around. If you're being hunted by, 20 armed men, you're not going to want to start a fire. But then again, maybe you do want to start a fire and lead them into your own ambush, but that's a whole nother video. But I got some orange paracord in here, some glow sticks, so you could crack a glow stick, tie it on the paracord, and you could signal somebody by spinning that around. Got a signal mirror. I got a whistle. I got a square of orange fabric in here where you can make a signal flag. And then I also have some um, marking tape here. So if you have to get off trail or leave trail or something, you can take this marking tape and you can mark your trail so you can find your way back to the main trail or whatever. Compasses, got a couple different compasses here, military style compass, and then I have a map compass. Both of these have cords on them so you can hang them around your neck, keep them down in your shirt, so you can keep them close and they're always on you. You don't have to worry about losing them, so they're sort of tied off. Fishing gear. Now, if you're just going out bushcrafting or something like that, or camping for a weekend, it's kind of cool to take a little basic fishing gear along with you in case you're by a little lake or pond or something. You can maybe catch a fish or whatever. In survival, if you're trying to get somewhere, you're probably not going to want to fish, but I don't know if you can see some of the stuff's in there. I got Russian hooks in there, which are basically a hook that's on a spoon. I got different sinkers. I got a bobber or two. I got a bunch of different hooks. I got little pieces of wood here that I got fishing line on, and then so I'm gonna shake it around here so you can see it. You can see there. I don't know, maybe you can. I got couple screw eyes in there because you can use those screw eyes, and I got a couple nails in there too. You can put them on a stick, and then you can use them to actually make a little fishing pole out of any old stick. You can tap in those nails on the end of the stick, wrap your fishing line through, put it through the screw eyes. Now you got a little bit of a fishing pole that you can hold out in front of you, and you can jig with a little piece of bait on one of your Russian hooks or one of your other little hooks that you got in there. And this is in a old electrical tape container. Um, Knives and saws. Saws, I think, are very important. I think they're probably, next to knives, the most important tool you can carry because you can cut smaller pieces of wood, break them down so you can start little campfires, you can make little projects and stuff. Knives, now there's several different grinds on knives. Your basic bushcraft one is going to be something like this. This is the Scandi or Scandinavian grind on it. It's particularly good for carving wood. So if you're going out bushcrafting or something like that, a knife like this is going to help you out because it's basically designed to carve wood. More of a survival situation, you might want a knife that's a little bit heavier. So you might want to go with something like this. These are heavier. You can beat them through. They're made out of carbon steel, so they got a little bit of give to them. So you can beat these through whatever you gotta beat you got to beat it through wood. You got to pry on something. Something like this is probably, because it's a little bit longer, it's got more leverage. It's going to give you a little bit more usefulness if you really got to beat on stuff, or if you really got to beat on stuff. Your other grind, this one here is actually a flat grind, which is basically just a taper from the spine down to the edge. It's basically just kind of like a wedge. And then they have what they call a saber grind, and saber grinds sort of look like this, where the top of the knife here, this is a lot thicker and stouter, and then it tapers about halfway through. These are particularly good for splitting wood because that thicker part on the top will actually wrench the wood apart as you're driving it down through it. And this particular knife here is very old. I've had this guy for a long time. It's probably the first real survival knife that I ever had. It's seen just a lot of use. And then seasonal, when you get into the basics of this survival gear, you want to keep it seasonally correct. So in the summertime, you're going to want to have maybe stuff for poison ivy, and you're going to have bug juice. In the wintertime, you're going to want to have something like hand warmers and mylar blankets, that kind of stuff to reflect the heat back to you. You can put a mylar blanket backdropped against your fire, and that'll help reflect the heat back into your little shelter or whatever that you got set up, like your poncho. But anyway, just putting this stuff away here. I thought I'd just do a quick video on this, explaining some of this survival and bushcraft gear and how I use it and how it's found its way into my packs over the years. But anyways, Modern Refugee, appreciate all my subscribers out there. Hope you guys got a little information, and some ideas out of this video here. If you guys got any questions, put them down in the comments. I'll try to answer them as best I can for you. And you guys have a good one.